Alongside Rob Lewis, I'm Austin Price. As the Volquest.com positional previews roll on. Talking defensive line today, Rob. It's an important unit for this team. You know, a lot of bodies, but are they quality bodies? Is kind of the biggest question going into 2019.
Yeah, it's a huge question. I mean, Tennessee was better against the run last year than I thought they would have been. I mean, they weren't great by any means. I think they were 10th in the SEC, gave a little over 4 yards a carry. But the only guy really, in my mind, that's coming back that is proven, and he's not extremely proven, is Emmett Gooden, who came along more and more as the year went on. I think it's kind of tells you where this group is at. That's the guy that you point to right now and say, man, he's probably the most proven guy we have.
Well, one SEC coach told our Jesse Simonton during the offseason that they knew that if they got into the third and fourth quarter and just kind of kept chipping away a little bit, that Tennessee's three-man defensive line rotation, because that's all it was no rotation a year ago, would eventually just get tired and tired and tired. This year, you look at this group, I think they got more bodies. Where are they at with Aubrey Solomon's appeal?
Huge.
Where are they at with some of the young players like John Mincy? How is he coming along? To me, that's the biggest question marks, because if those guys can progress, then you feel a fraction bit better, especially if Solomon is eligible. If not, then all of a sudden it's a real game changer up front defensively.
I can't recall any time in almost 2 decades of doing this when they've been relying on 2 junior college transfers like they are with Savion Williams and Darrell Milton. I mean, it's imperative that they get something out of those guys. I mean, they don't have to be all SEC players, but they've got to be able to give some quality snaps. Or, as you mentioned, if Solomon's appeal doesn't go Tennessee's way, they're in trouble.
Let's talk about what Solomon brings to the table. In your mind, what does he give Tennessee?
Well, at the very least, he's an NFL body that has played, in a big-time conference. And, he wasn't a superstar, but he showed that he belonged at Michigan. I mean, if nothing else, you get a guy who you feel confident about can at least hold his own in the SEC. Is he ready to be a difference maker? I'm not ready to say that, but he's got the potential to be. But he's at least going to be solid.
Up front, defensively, Tracy Rocker's got his hands full. Expect him to be loud, extremely loud, all through fall camp, because he's going to be pushing these young guys. By the time you got to October last year, he'd kind of, come off Kyle Phillips and Shy Tuttle and Alexis Johnson, because he knew those were the guys he needed every week, so he couldn't just lean on them too hard in practice. I think he's going to lean on all these guys, because I think he feels like the more bodies, the better chance that this defensive line has a chance to actually be credible in 2019.
And one guy we haven't is Greg Emerson take a step forward. How much was he impacted by the injury last year? How much did that set him back? How much has being in the program for a couple of years helped him? I thought he flashed a little bit in the spring game, but that's a big body inside that, any big body inside could help him. And, pass rush is something we hadn't touched on yet. Kyle Phillips, 7 sacks last year from that defensive end position. Nobody even close to that kind of production. Tennessee was almost dead last in the SEC, tied for 11th with 25 sacks last year. Darrell Taylor, is going to give you some of that off the edge. Do they have anybody that can give them some push in the middle?
Big question. Tennessee's defensive line could determine a lot in 2019, how good this defense is and how many wins Tennessee ends up with in the win column could be very well dictated by this group. For Rob Lewis, I'm Austin Price as the Volquest.com positional previews roll on.